Hey, bang the gavel. Hit the gavel. Okay, folks, we're going to get started. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Robert Aki Vaughn passed away on October 14, 2020. Robert Aki, as they called him, was a resident of Whitman, and he was married for 34 years to his wife Carol, and he was a proud member of the Abington Police Department for over 35 years, and he wore badge number 1. His fondest memories of his time on the force was walking the beat in Abington Center, where he enjoyed conversing with the business owners and residents in town alike. He was a lifetime member of the Whitman VFW and will be missed by all that knew him. Thank you. Public announcements. Mike?
Nothing here.
Kevin?
Nothing.
Jim?
I got one thing. Just want to say this year's election season consisted of mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, early voting, and walk-in voting, all during a global pandemic. It also set records for voter turnout. I'd like to take this time to acknowledge the hard work and determination of Leanne Adams and her staff, and the many volunteers and poll workers who work diligently to ensure a smooth election free of glitches. We as a town should be very proud of the professionalism shown by these people.
Thank you. And I have none. And again, I was going to mention Leanne and Barbara and thank them for their great work. Right from town primary, election right through, starting in June, they've been busy. So we do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to now introduce our retiring Veteran Services Officer, Tom McCarthy, who is retiring, and he will, there you are, and give us a little update on what's going on and can introduce our new Veteran Services Officer.
Well, after 8 years here, I've really enjoyed my time here, being able to make a difference for our veterans in the community, as well as we just switched from a district, Whitman, Abington, to my replacement, Adam Gunn, who is full of energy. He's got a lot of talent that he brings to the table. He's going to do great things for our veterans in the community. I have a lot of faith and trust in him. He's retired Navy, and he's already working really hard, but it's midst of the training season when he came on board, and I think he's going to do wonderful things. He's a great guy. Adam Gunn. I'm going to miss my time here in town. I've been supported by the towns since day one. It's just been a one-of-a-kind position to be in, to be able to make a difference in people's lives. After serving in the Marine Corps, I came home and just kind of walked into this 10 years after that, and it's just been a very unique position for me, being raised here in town, to be able to serve the community that I dearly love. So I want to thank you all for supporting me through the years, and Scott, you've been awesome. Brand new here, but still.
Well, we appreciate.
I wish I could have spent more time working with you, but I'm going to be home taking care of my wife now, as she's failing. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your service, and I know some of our state representatives, senators, and congressmen want to say a few things. So why don't we start with Congressman Lynch?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Selectmen. Steve Lynch, great to be with you once again. You know, Tom McCarthy is a humble person, given his great service to the veterans and veterans' families and spouses in the town of Abington as well as the town of Whitman. And so I'm here tonight just to say thank you to him. But first, I want to say thank you to the town of Abington. On November 3rd, we had a record turnout. Almost 10,000 people came out to vote in the elections on November 3rd. That was a record. That was above and beyond any other election we've had here in Abington. And it was in the middle of a pandemic. And so I just want to say to all those who came out to vote, regardless of who you voted for, it was really a wonderful example of a town coming out and performing its civic duty. And what an example to the young people that saw what transpired on Election Day. So I'm very grateful, and I'm deeply grateful for the huge amount of support I got from the town of Abington. I'm very, very thankful, and just dying to get back to work in Washington on your behalf. We got a lot of work to do. Let me just also recognize my colleagues, Senator Keenan, who also shares the responsibility along with Mike Brady, who is here tonight as well, and State Representative Sullivan, who are here also for the same reason of honoring Tom McCarthy. Coming from South Boston, we have a precinct full of Tom McCarthys. Yeah, in Dorchester, right. And so on special occasions, I'm allowed to make remarks on the floor of the House on special occasions. And so I have with me here a congressional record, and this is part of the official documents for the work of the Congress in the 116th Congress, this current Congress that's now coming to a close. But these are the remarks that I submitted to Speaker Pelosi in honor of Thomas McCarthy, Abington and Whitman Veteran Service Officer. Honorable Stephen F. Lynch of Massachusetts and the House of Representatives, Monday, November 2nd, 2020. Madam Speaker, I rise today in honor of Tom McCarthy in recognition of his outstanding contributions to the towns of Abington and Whitman, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the United States of America. The son of James and Jane McCarthy of Abington, Tom was born on May 11, 1958. He was raised on Plymouth Street in Abington. He attended the South Shore Vocational Tech School in Hanover, and he attended the Southern Washington University, earning a bachelor's degree in criminal justice in 1979. Tom served in the United States Marine Corps for 30 years, from 1976 to 2006, retiring with the rank of Sergeant Major. Over the course of his service in the United States Marine Corps, Tom attended the Military Police Academy and was assigned to the military police for 26 years. And upon his retirement, he returned to Abington. In 2012, Tom began his service as a part-time veteran service officer for the towns of Abington and Whitman. He was promoted to Director of Veteran Services in 2017. Tom is a life member of the Disabled American Veterans Chapter 119 in Whitman, where he served as post commander from 2011 to 2016. Madam Speaker, Tom is known for his compassionate smile, his quick sense of humor, his storytelling, and his affection for Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. He's an avid freshwater fisherman and has participated in many firearm shooting competitions over the years, and he has had the good sense and great fortune to be married to his wife Jenny for 41 years. His passionate advocacy for veterans set an example to all who worked with him, and I extend my sincere congratulations and appreciation to him upon retirement. It is my distinct honor to join with Tom McCarthy's friends, his family, and his contemporaries to thank him for his service to the United States, and to the veterans spouses, and the veterans' families of Abington and Whitman, Massachusetts. Thank you. So, thank you. I just want to say, I have the good fortune of representing 22 towns and 3 cities, and so I've got veteran service officers all over the place. And I can honestly say that none are better. None are better and none work harder than Tom McCarthy. So we're extremely grateful for his service to all the veterans and their families. He worked very, very closely with my staff and myself in our office. And it didn't matter if it was a World War II veteran who for the first time at age 93 was coming to us for help, whether they were from Abington or Whitman, or whether it was one of our young fellows or young women who just came out of the service from Iraq or Afghanistan. Tom McCarthy was there for them, and he fulfilled our responsibility as a nation to make sure that our veterans are cared for after they leave service and come home. So we're very grateful for him, and we're extremely excited to begin to work with Adam Gunn, who he just retired about 5 minutes ago from the United States Navy. He was up in Everett, Washington. He actually retired September 1st, so he's newly appointed here, but I think he's cut from the same cloth as Tom McCarthy, and we look forward to working with him as well on behalf of the veterans in our district. So Godspeed, Tom. Good luck, best of health, and God bless. Thank you. Sorry, one of the other things, so you got all kinds of things there. I asked the architect of the Capitol if we could fly a flag in memory of your service to your country and to the towns of Abington and Whitman. And also, just as a personal gift from me to you, these are congressional cufflinks, so they'll look good with a blue suit. Yeah, you need long sleeve shirt though, just so you know.
Thank you, Congressman. Representative Sullivan? And are the senators
I
with?
believe the senators
Yeah,
are going to be staying
so
with me.
Senator Keenan and Brady, why don't you give her a hand since she's holding a crutch there?
I still made it out, though. Tom, I just want to say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. We've worked very closely over the past 2 years, since I was elected in 2018. We have had several veterans in our community that have reached out to my office in the need of help, and you stood up for that, and I thank you for that. And you know exactly who I'm talking about and what I'm talking about. And we are gonna miss you. I think Adam's gonna be a great asset to the town. But you are gonna be missed. This is not goodbye, this is I'll see you later. And we're still gonna probably harass you when we need you, because you have great wisdom and knowledge of what's going on in the towns, both in Abington and Whitman, and I think that can't be replaced. So thank you for your service here, not only here in Abington and Whitman, but also within the Marine Corps as well. I know my colleagues want to say a few words before we present.
Thank you, Representative, and Tom, again, congratulations, and thank you for your many years of service, not only to our countries, but as a VSO for both towns of Whitman and Abington. I represent the town of Whitman, and my good friend John Keenan represents the town of Abington, and good friend Rep. Sullivan represents both communities. I want to thank our Chairman and Board of Selectmen for having us here today as well. And I also am honored to be here in the town of Abington. Though I come from Brockton, my father was born and raised, but he served in World War II and he lived in Abington on Wilbur Street. And the home is no longer there. They had a coal stove for heat back in the day, and that was it. But he is memorialized in the memorial here in the town of Abington, so I'm honored to be here. And my uncle, who lived in Whitman, Harold Brady. So my father was Robert F. Brady. My uncle was Harold Brady, and he was a member of the VFW in Whitman for many years. And they're both World War II veterans that are no longer with us. But we're here to honor you. Thank you for your service, and thank you for all your help to all the veterans. I know Congressman as well, Steve Lynch has been a great advocate and help. He's helped many veterans, and I serve on the Veterans Committee in the State House, and we have the VA that's located in Brockton. We have a lot of veterans that we have to help with there, and also the local day-to-day stuff that we have to help veterans with the basic needs. And thank you for all you've done, and congratulations to our new Veteran Service Station. And any help we can be to any veterans moving forward, that's what we're here for. And we're very fortunate in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that we work together. Because like when Tom Brady was formerly on the Patriots, he's gone, they've had a tough year, but we're fortunate. We work together in the Commonwealth, and that's how we get things done. And that's why I've got a great team with Rep. Sullivan and Senator Keenan in the State House. And I'm going to pass the baton over to our good friend Senator Keenan, who represents the town of Abington. Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Thank you. It's great to be here. Congressman Lynch, Representative, Senator, everybody that's here. It is an honor to be here to say thank you to you, Tom. Thank you for your military service. And I know the Congressman and the Board had talked about the record turnout here in the town of Abington on Election Day. And people here in Abington and in other communities all across the Commonwealth were able to come out and to vote and participate in the democratic process because people like you, Tom, have stood watch over our democracy through your military service and then have promoted and improved our democracy by your service here in Abington and Whitman. So thank you for what you've done. And I know our office has always found you to be a great resource. Whenever we had a question, we knew where to turn. And that you did your military service and then added to this service here is, to me, just remarkable. It's truly remarkable. Your service hasn't ended. And I go back to the point, that's what makes our democracy so strong. It's from this community level all the way up, and from people like you and everybody else who serves in government doing what they do every day. The veterans of Abington and Whitman have been so well served, and I know if they were all here, they would give you a heartfelt thank you. So we wish you the very best, you and your wife, your friends and your family. May the coming years bring you health and happiness. Congratulations and thank you.
So we did a joint resolution in the Massachusetts General Court, and it says, commending Thomas McCarthy on the occasion of his retirement as a Veteran Service Officer for the town of Abington and the town of Whitman. Whereas on October 29, 2020, Thomas McCarthy will retire as the Veteran Service Officer for the town of Abington and the town of Whitman. And whereas Thomas McCarthy served his country with pride and distinction for 30 years in the United States Marine Corps, retiring in 2006 with the rank of Sergeant Major. And I don't know if my colleagues would like to read some of it.
You have younger, better eyes than us, so I'll let you. I'll have to wear double glasses.
Whereas Thomas McCarthy went to the Military Police Academy and spent 26 of his 30 years in the United States Marine Corps working with the military police. And whereas Thomas McCarthy has made a profound impact on those who have worked with him and the many people he has met throughout his throughout his years of distinction service to the veterans of the towns of Abington and the town of Whitman and the Commonwealth. Therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Massachusetts General Court hereby commends Thomas McCarthy on the occasion of his retirement as the Veteran Service Officer for the town of Abington and the town of Whitman, and further extends to him their sincere best wishes to the continued success in all his future endeavors. And be it further resolved that the copy of this resolution be forwarded by the clerk of the House of Representatives to Thomas McCarthy. And it's signed by Speaker DeLeo, the House Clerk, President of the Senate, Karen Spilka, and the Clerk of the Senate, signed by me and my two colleagues in the Senate, Mike Brady and John Keenan. And congratulations.
And I know the cliche, you give a politician a mic, you get nervous, but it's also fitting that Tom is retiring because he was a Marine, and tomorrow is the celebration of the U.S. Marines in our country. And I know on behalf of our whole delegation, we thank you for your service. And also to all our veterans out there, God bless you, because Wednesday is Veterans Day, and I wish everyone a happy and safe Veterans Day and the whole year through. God bless you all.
Thank you all very much.
Tom, one last last thing is, we didn't want you to go home without bringing something to Jenny.
Thank you.
We're gonna stay in touch.
It's a team effort. Nobody does anything by themselves, it's a team effort, as you see here. Remember, you don't get burnt out, we need to,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving on. Oh, Congressman, we want to see you wearing this next time we see you on TV.
You should have given me for this one. Oh, very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
Green wave, there you go. Thank you. Take care, guys. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. We have our annual tax classification hearing, which is the most watched Selectmen show of the year. So, why don't you tell everyone at home who you are, and let's go.
My name is Yolanta Griffith. I think we met last year, and I will be doing the classification presentation to you today. Okay?
Let me just interrupt one thing, two things, actually. Anyone here for public comment on anything on the agenda? Seeing none? No. Adam apparently doesn't want to speak, so he's good.
Yeah, we'll get him here another time.
We'll get Adam here another time. Nobody's here for a public comment on anything on the agenda, correct? Okay, moving on.
Okay. Every year, those present at our annual town meeting vote to approve the upcoming budget figures. The money to fund the budget comes from multiple sources like local receipts, revenues, and state aid. The remaining money comes from the levy. The levy refers to the amount of money a community can raise through real estate and personal property taxes. Just to clarify, the classification hearing does not change the amount of money which can be raised through the levy. A split rate will not increase revenue for the town. The split rate shifts some of the tax burden from all residential onto all commercial, industrial, and personal property accounts. Residential property include condos, 2- and 3-family units, land, and apartment complexes. Commercial includes commercial land, mom-and-pop stores, as well as the big box stores. Since you need to raise a fixed amount of levy, the valuations and the tax rates move in opposite direction. If the total town value increases, the tax rate will decrease. If the total town value decreases, the tax rate will increase. However, if overrides, capital exclusions, and debt inclusions are approved, it is likely that the tax rate will increase no matter what. This is our outstanding debt schedule overview. We have the new middle high school that will be completed in 2041, police station in 2027, senior center in 2028. Oh. No, I got it, thank you. And the old high school windows and doors, 2028. 87.28% of the debt is for high school debt purposes. Community Preservation Act. The CPA does not increase the tax rate. It is a separate surcharge. It does not go toward the payment of your real estate tax bills or the general fund. For fiscal year 20, the town collected approximately $391,496 in CPA funds. The CPA funds go towards open space and historic. If the rate is shifted, the CPA loses some of the money per shift. And this is the pie. The Board of Selectmen, like I said, hold a classification hearing to determine if the levy gets divided evenly through a single tax rate or if the tax burden gets shifted between the classes. Here are current class percentages. Real estate is at 87.1335. Commercial is at 9.4672. Industrial is at 0.9755, and personal property is at 2.438. This year, we had a high rise in the personal property because there is a new methodology that the DOR has started for the 504 utilities. And the 504 utilities we have in Abington are Boston Gas, ENSTAR, Mass Electric, and Columbia Gas. We also had an increase in the commercial value, largely due to the TIF agreement that we had with Cape Cod Lumber that we have removed. Also, 200 Wales Street got reclassified from industrial to mill shops, because they have a bunch of little mill shops over there. Here are the historical class percentages. This has been the trend since 1981. Those are the earliest records online at mass.gov. The residential percentage is 87.13, commercial 9.47, industrial 0.98, and personal property 242. So as you see, the personal property went up quite a bit. Should the selectmen choose to shift some of the burden to the commercial, industrial, and personal property, the shift may not be more than 150% of the original burden. Given this restriction, our minimum residential share with max shift would be 80.702, and commercial, industrial, and personal would be 19.2998. At the original limit, the example that you see next, if we shift at 1.0, on the left you see the original percentage share, the original levy share, and we would have a single tax rate of 16.49, which would be 51 cents down from the 17, which we had this year. If you shift to 150, the shifts are on the left, the levy share is in the middle, and the maximum split rates. So residential would be 15.27, and CIP would be 24.74. So last year we had a rate of 17,000 per thousand. This year's proposed tax rate is 1641. This is a change of 51 cents. Let's talk averages. The current value of the average single-family home is $394,870. This is an increase of less than $10,000. The taxes would be $6,511.41. Currently, 62% of all the single-family homes are valued at or below the average. Same thing for commercial. The current value of the average commercial is $1,008,873. This is an average increase of $147,821. The taxes would be $60,636.32. Currently, 73% of all the commercial properties are valued under $1 million. So this is fun. This is the impact of the tax shifts. So
It is
if you
fun.
decide to vote on 1.00, we would have a single tax rate of $16.49. If you decide to go to the maximum of 150, the residential would save $481, while the commercial would go up at $8,323. As you can see, the shift would result in commercial paying approximately 33% more in taxes, while residential parcels would save just under 8%. So, for approximately every 12 cents to the residential rate drops, the commercial rate increases by 83. So. And the next slide is some split rate information about other towns. In fiscal year 2020, 108 communities had a split tax rate. 95.4 of those communities have split tax rate for more than 10 years. 86.1 have split tax rate for more than 20 years. The average residential percentage for the split rate communities is 79%. The average residential percentage for single rate towns is 88.6%. Of the 27 cities and towns in Plymouth County, only 5 have a split rate. The average residential percentage of these 5 communities is 80.44%. The 5 in Plymouth County are Cotter, Middleborough, West Bridgewater, Brockton, and Hanover. And here's some final bits of information, how we arrive at the values. When determining values, we are governed by the Department of Revenue regulations. We must analyze qualified sales from the last full calendar year and adjust accordingly. For fiscal year 21 values, we must use sales from calendar year 19. Property values get adjusted after the sales analysis each year. Property values are submitted to and certified by the Department of Revenue each year. Property values may change as a result of building permits, sales inspections, random selection, or the DOR requirement to visit the property at least once in a 9-year period. So in closing, the Board of Assessors voted to recommend that the Board of Selectmen vote on a single tax rate. So now I ask the Board of Selectmen to vote, please.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Anyone in the audience have any questions?
It seems like we still have a high residential, percentage, hopefully, through time and with the widening of Route 18, we can increase our commercial tax base, commercial base and build a number up, but right now it seems like we still fall really under the average for Mass.
We do, and it's been that way for many, many years, unfortunately. It's towns like Hanover that has a huge tax base,
Yeah.
Commercial base, and City of Brockton has a split rate. I am not in favor of a split rate with the percentage of industrial commercial that we have at this point. And I haven't been for years, and until that changes drastically, I would not be in favor of a split rate. I think it would hurt business, and in the big picture, I think it helps the residents more if we can get some more residential, some more commercial business into town. So eventually, we could maybe do a split rate, but at this point, I would not be in favor of it. Anyone else? So, could I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to keep it an even rate. Keep it as
A
is,
single rate?
a single rate.
Yeah. Is there a second?
I second that.
Motion second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, nice to see you again.
You too.
Alex, John's gonna take off at 7:30. Do we maybe want to just jump to those two action items while he's still here?
Yes,
If there's any questions, I want him to answer them.
so 1 and
Number 1 and 2.
2, yeah, okay. All right, we're gonna jump ahead, it'll just take us a minute. Discuss and possible vote to lower the quorum for all town meeting sessions held during the state of emergency declared in response to the COVID-19 state of emergency. As you know, the annual town meeting, the selectmen had voted to lower the quorum to 50, and I think most people thought that that was for all the town meetings during this, but it was not. So we need to, if we're going to lower it, again, we need to vote on that tonight. So anyone have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm actually against lowering the quorum. This is a special town meeting, correct?
Yes.
You know, I don't agree with some of the things that are on there, and I really feel that these special town meetings should be more geared towards budgetary things, things of emergency, less zoning stuff, less. So again, if we're lowering the quorum, then it's, and I know it doesn't limit us to the 50 or whatever number we pick. I just feel like with the things that are on, and I know that we agreed to them, I just don't agree with lowering.
Well, the reason they're on for the special is because we tried to do the monetary things at the annual town meeting to speed things up with the agreement that we would have a fall town meeting, and those things on the annual would be put off to the fall.
Right.
This board agreed to that.
No, I understand that.
And
just,
I think if we leave it at 150, we're not going to get 150 now, we're not going to get 150 for the annual in the spring, because it's very difficult to do that.
Keep in mind that come springtime, we may be still under the same regulations.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't going away, so, and I understand that. It's just continuously lowering.
The other problem we have is that we have street acceptance that these developers were hoping to get their bond back at the annual town meeting, and we put it off for them. So now we put it off for a year for them? I mean, I don't know how much some of those bonds are, but they're not $10,000 or $15,000.
With this, I mean, my question is, when we originally had this special town meeting that we had to postpone, we could not use the gym at the middle high school, which I didn't understand why we couldn't. It's a town building, but I'd like to know a little more on that. Do we have the ability of the auditorium and the gym? I don't see why we shouldn't. It's a town building, but, and the capacities of each. I know, Sean, you know, you probably said it 100 times now, but
Sean Riley, 500 Watch Street, your town moderator. No, we do have the ability to utilize the gymnasium. In fact, we did have it set up for our annual town meeting back in, what was that, June? So if there was an overflow, if we couldn't fit everyone in the auditorium, we had it set up with a video, audio-visual connection for the gymnasium. This last town meeting we had in October, because of the procedural issue where we knew we couldn't proceed, we didn't spend the money to set up the gymnasium for that. In June, when we did have our town meeting, I believe we were able to seat approximately 90 to 95 people in the auditorium using our socially distant principles and protocols. We are gonna have additional seating set up in the gym for the November 17th meeting in case we have more than the 90 or so people. To the selectman's question about the concern about some of these articles, I mean, historically in Abington, what we used to do years ago was the annual town meeting in the spring was your budget, your dollars and cents, your money articles, and in the fall, we would routinely have a special town meeting for capital items and for zoning and bylaw revisions. Somewhat what we're doing here. There has been a concern mentioned about some of these things are important decisions, and should a small crowd make big decisions like that? I completely understand that. At the same time, lowering the quorum allows us to get started and try to move that meeting as efficiently as possible. I will say as a caveat to that, all the zoning articles have to be approved by a 2/3 majority vote. I'm not lobbying pro or con for any one of those articles, but if people don't feel comfortable and they don't get the 2/3, it doesn't pass. And they can resubmit whatever article doesn't pass at a future town meeting. I hope to God we are able to have a COVID-free town meeting in the near future. I agree with Alex. I think we're probably gonna have similar restrictions in the spring. Maybe next fall, we don't have those restrictions, but lowering the quorum allows us to know, theoretically, we'll have at least 50, we can get started. I hope we have well more than 50, and we're planning to have well more than 50. And then it's up to the will of the voters whether to approve them. I also, some of the money articles I think are important. There's over $400,000 to be re-injected back into our school department, which I think is important. The road acceptances, there are some things that I think do need to be handled then, and but if the town voters decide to want to pass over or push off things, that is the will of the people. I'm just running the meeting, I'm not voting.
Yeah, it is important that we have this meeting because we do have money from the state that came in that we weren't expecting, that we'd like to appropriate, and it makes a difference on next year's budget if we appropriate it this year. We did everything and we'll do everything to let people know that we're looking to accommodate as many people as can come. We'd love to see 150 people come. It's not that we're not in favor of it, but again, we have to be prepared in case people decide they don't want to come. The items that are in there, exactly as we said, these were items that were supposed to be in last year's annual, and we couldn't deal with them. And so we pushed them off and said, we're going to deal with them at the special.
so two things. I know, Sean, I don't want to put you on the spot really, but do you know how many we can fit in the gym?
I was talking with the custodian today. We can easily sit another 30 or 40 or 50 people in there. What we were proposing today is, in just learning through experience, instead of having single seats 6 feet apart, we're gonna have some singles and some pairs of seats, so husband and wife can sit together and mother and daughter can sit together. So that allows us to get more people in, but still not increase the threat level.
And can you just, in order to pass over something that's on the budget at the special town meeting, can you just, what is needed for a vote, kind of just lay that out?
Well, typically, let's take a zoning article. A zoning article needs 2/3 to approve, and if there's a motion to approve the article as presented, and then someone stands up and says, I don't want you to do this, I want you to pass it over, we have to take a vote on the positive motion. So in order to win that positive motion, you have to attain the 2/3 majority vote. If 2/3 or more pass it, it's approved. If they don't pass it, it does not get approved. That does not prevent it from being resubmitted at another town meeting in the future. If someone were to stand up and say, I make a motion that we don't deal with these 5 articles tonight, I can't really do that. It's part of the warrant. We have to take some sort of vote on those. And I think we'll be able to run through this meeting relatively easily. It's always our goal to get it done in one night. I believe we will. And again, I'll lobby for a lower quorum because that will allow us to start on time.
This spring meeting, we had a quorum of 50, but how many people actually showed up? Do you remember that figure?
I believe it was about 90 or 95 had checked in the last I chose. Whether it exceeded 100 or not, I don't know. It may be in the spring, we have an outdoor meeting, depending on where things are going.
And then the quorum could be whatever. It's outdoors.
I will tell you, about half the towns around here, and I'll get a survey, I'm in the part of the Mass Moderator Association, we have a list of all the towns and what their quorums are. A lot of towns around have a 0 quorum or a low quorum. And what they found is that's increased attendance. Because back in the day, when we had 150, people were sitting there for half an hour, and we're asking people to call people, to get people here, we were 30 people short, and it was irritating. Those who've gone to a 0 quorum, everyone knows you're starting, so people arrive on time, you're ready to go, and there's whatever fear there is of a small crowd making decisions, makes people come to the meeting, so that it's not a small crowd. So it has benefited. Every town that I know that's gone to 0 has not gone back. I'm just saying that's another argument for lower or 0 quorum.
And in regards to, I mean, between the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee and the other boards that are there, I mean, what are we looking at for an average number of just those boards alone at the meeting?
Mandatory people.
Oh, for the boards themselves?
Yeah.
Maybe like 20.
Yeah, under the COVID environment, we are, there is even members of our Finance Committee who are not comfortable going into an enclosed environment. So not all 9 Finance Committee members are in attendance. And if you kind of extrapolate that out, when you have the Planning Board, the School Committee, the Zoning Board, the Finance Committee, the Board of Selectmen, the Library, that's probably 30, 40, 50 people if they all came. I don't expect that they all will come. And then there are also your typical town meeting regulars. So we expect fully to get 50 or 60 people in their seats at 7 o'clock. It very well may that we have 90 or 110, but that'd be a good thing.
And can we have any other satellite locations for this? Like, say, the senior center, if we were to bring the seniors there for a town meeting, could we do that?
Under the law, everyone who is attending a town meeting has to have an audio and a visual connection. So it would be very difficult technologically wise to connect to a building that's not, a location that's not part of the same building. Abington doesn't have the technology to do that at this time. That's why we use the adjacent auditorium and gymnasium at the new high school building. In the past, we had down at the Beaver Brook School years ago, we had a town meeting, and they have 2 abutting gyms down there, and we had town meeting with an overflow in the other gym. So this gives us the best of both worlds. With the auditorium, it has an HVAC system, which can bring in fresh air and take out the old air, and the same thing with the gymnasium. We can open up the dampers and bring in fresh air there.
And will we be putting this, it'll be live airing on Abington Cam on TV, and will we be doing any other feeds, like a social media feed or anything with it, do you know?
I don't know what Abington Cam's plans are, other than it being live on cable TV. For those who don't feel comfortable or may have some sort of health risk, you can watch it live, and obviously they'll tape it, so it'll be replayed at later dates.
And could people, say we did have, if they were watching on TV, it being live, would that be included as a way for them to be considered part of town meeting, or no?
No. In order to take part in town meeting, you have to be present at the town meeting. There's no way for us technologically for someone on Orange Street to vote at the town meeting being held at the high school. Every town is battling with these issues right now. There are obviously some certain critical votes that towns need to keep providing their governmental services, but there's also that balance of, can we take anything off the plate and push it off? As moderator, it's not my say. I'm gonna just address everything that's on the warrant, and if the people decide that they wanna push some things off, that's the will of the people. And if people wanna say, no, let's take care of business, that's the will of the people.
Okay. Our current quorum is 150.
It's 150. You previously lowered it to 50, and the statute said you could lower it for any any town meeting held during the public health emergency. We interpreted that to apply to all future town meetings. Bond counsel said that they wanted either separate votes for each town meeting, meaning this new special town meeting, or a vote that included language that said any future town meeting, which I believe is what the motion language you have today.
And I'm sorry to make you repeat, but at our annual town meeting in the spring, how many did we have there?
We had a quorum of 50 and approximately 90 voters were in attendance.
And then this last one that we postponed, I had 37, was that correct? We had 37 show up?
I don't recall, it was a smaller number. I think everyone assumed it was a quorum of 50, but word got out that there was a procedural problem, we weren't taking action. And honestly, we were telling some people, don't come if you have a health risk, it's because we're not gonna proceed. We'd rather, don't bother with any exposure. So I think the 37 was artificially deflated, but for good reason.
So, I mean, people did reach out to me regarding this, lowering the quorum. They wanted to make sure that it was just a strictly a temporary thing. There was a lot of concern over it. I did explain to them that this isn't, it's not a maximum of a number. We are just, it's a lower number, so people can still attend. They were very concerned with that still. You know, the only thing I could see is, you know, lowering the number, but also putting some language in there that, you know, this is for any basically emergency funding or, you know, say fiscal funding that's required by the town in order to operate. That way we're kind of.
Well, I mean, we've already approved the warrant, so it's everything
I
in the
agree.
warrant.
Right.
Well,
this
you know, I
warrant.
mean, I think, to your point, I mean, I think we talked about this last one, is do everything we can to encourage as many people to participate, whether it's social media, the light up signs that say, you know, town meeting's coming, and, you know, all are welcome, please participate. I mean, you know, I don't think we want to do anything, and we never did have any intention to do anything that gave anybody the idea that we were hoping people didn't come out. The only point of it, as Sean said originally, was A, to make sure we could get business done, and B, to make sure we could start on time so as not to prolong the amount of time people are stuck in an interior environment. So as you said, we're not sitting there waiting for the last 5 people to come in the door.
The biggest thing people can do to help us is to arrive early. So whether we have 50 people or 120 people, if you can arrive well before 7 o'clock so you can be in your seats, because we want to start at 7 so we can be done by 10, 9 o'clock, whatever it is.
And just so everyone knows, when is the meeting scheduled, just so you can say it now?
Tuesday, November 17th, and it's
Right.
not a Monday night this time, it is Tuesday, November 17th at 7 PM at the Abington High School Auditorium, the middle high school auditorium. Doors for the public will open at 6:30, and we'll be using the exact same protocols as the 2 previous ones.
And you will be sending out another letter to that, and it'll go out to the,
High school sign,
Yeah.
notices are going out, and to Mr. Damasio's point, and I just forgot what his point was.
And let me clarify
The
again.
temporary nature of it, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The
Yes.
statute that allows you to lower the quorum says you can only do it during the public health, the state's public health emergency. So once that emergency is lifted, hopefully in the spring or whenever, the quorum goes right back to 150. And only town meeting can change that town meeting by changing the bylaw in the future. That's not on the table.
And I just want to clarify words too. I understand that we already have the warrant and the things that are on that. This vote would be for, you know, future as well, if COVID's, I mean, we're guessing COVID's going to probably be around for quite some time, so
well,
annual town meeting would be in jeopardy.
yeah, it would be,
That's what I'd be.
as long as the governor has declared the state of emergency. When the governor lifts the state of emergency, the quorum would go back to the 150. Am I correct?
Yeah, can I add also, town
Yes.
council has prepared the motion wording for you. So it would authorize the quorum to be dropped to whatever number you guys decide, and it would apply to all future town meetings, including the one on Tuesday, November 17th. If for any reason, we have a town meeting coming up in May or June of 2021, and prior to that, you guys decide you want to change it again, you can take another vote. This doesn't prohibit you from changing it from If you did 50 tonight, you could make it 75 or 100 if you had good reason to do so. If you don't take another vote, it will just continue until the public health emergency is lifted by the state.
Okay.
I think with some of the articles that are on there, I think we're gonna get quite a few people. I don't think there's a problem getting enough people.
I'd hate
Yeah.
to see 150 quorum, and like you said, we had 95 show up, where we could have lowered the quorum to 50
we
and got
can't-
business done.
Right, I mean, we really need to get the business done, so I'm in favor of lowering it to 50 with the hope that, you know, we publicize this and get 150 people there. And actually, like I said, with some of the things on the warrant, I wouldn't be surprised if we did.
And I'm not saying I'm not in favor of it, I don't think 50 would be, I know we went to that before, we had 90 show up. I mean, I'd be more in favor of staying around, 90 or 100, given we have the 2 rooms and we can distance.
And then what happens if we don't get it?
I mean, I had residents reaching out to me, regarding this, so, yeah, I mean, the less people show up, I mean, do we want a town of 16,000 with 50 people deciding the fate, plus, again, further, who knows with COVID if people could show up or, people working and everything else.
Yeah,
I agree with you, I would like to see a ton of people show up,
Yeah.
but, are they gonna show up because the quorum is 150, or are they gonna show up because they're 50? If they're gonna show up, they're gonna show up, if they're that concerned about it. You may get 75 people to show up that are concerned, but sorry, we can't have a meeting because the quorum's 150. You
Yeah,
know?
I understand that, yes.
The thing is, like Jim said, if people want to show up, they're going to show up. So it really doesn't matter. We could set the quorum at 0, and if 75 people wanted to show up, they're going to show up. The quorum really doesn't matter. The people that want to be there are going to be there.
So,
And you're not going to force people to show up because you raise the quorum.
Our
People aren't
hopes
going
are
to show up
start.
if they don't want to show up.
You know, our hopes are to start on time.
May I add, I just want to caution that if the quorum is set too high and we don't achieve the quorum, I don't think I can in good conscience declare a continuance to try again a week later.
Well, the other part of that is this is the, we've pushed this out to a deadline where I have to have this money appropriated and into DOR by the end of the week. So the 17th is really our last chance to take action on that. So continuing it isn't really an option.
Good to know.
I would like to keep it at 50 and advertise and Facebook, the town, emails, everything, get as many people as we can there. I want as many people there too.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to hold the meeting if we don't get enough.
On time.
Because we have business to take care of that we have to take care of. Nobody is saying we don't want more than 50 people there.
Well, I'm ready to make a motion if everybody's done.
And you have to read the motion that you gave.
What's on this page, or do you have another?
No, he has what town
It's
council.
slightly.
You got it?
this is number 1. I mean, I would like to see
Number 1.
too low.
I move that the board establish a quorum of 50 registered voters for all town meetings held during the state of emergency declared in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, including but not limited to the upcoming November 17, 2020 special town meeting. Thank you.
There's a motion, is there a second? For purposes of discussion, I will second that. Any discussion?
I mean, I would like, if we have 150, I think cutting it in half to 75 would probably be, more realistic. 50 of it, cutting it in a third,
Are you making an amendment?
so,
Well, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Why don't we vote on that? And if that doesn't pass, then I'll entertain another motion.
Okay.
All in favor of the motion on the floor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No,
The motion does not carry. Is there another motion?
yeah, I move that the board establish a quorum of 75 registered voters for all town meetings held during the state of emergency declared in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, including but not limited to the upcoming November 17th, 2020 special town meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. So the quorum is 75, but for those of you watching at home, that does not mean it's limited to 75. We encourage all voters to come out. So just in case we were over capacity, what happens?
Again, if there are not enough seats available for people to actually take part in the meeting, I would have to recess the meeting to another day and find a larger venue. Technically, theoretically, we're allowed to go out of town to a larger venue or to try an outdoor meeting, but at this time of year, that's not a good thing. We will do our best to get everyone a seat and to get that meeting rolling. I have a lot of great ushers who have volunteered. The cable TV staff and the school IT staff have been wonderful to work with. I am confident we will get it done. I think 75 will work, and I encourage everyone to be there early, check in, wear your masks, and stay socially distant.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item number 2, vote pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 39, Section 10A, to designate the health director as the town official having the authority and responsibility to deliver any notice or report required by any recess or continuance of a town meeting, or as may otherwise be required by said statute.
And we have a slight change to that.
Can you explain that for the
I think
viewers
Sean
at
can
home?
absolutely explain that.
Sure. And I think the change suggested by town council was to appoint the chief of police in that state, in that position. This is another procedural technicality based on some of the recent legislation. This is a slightly different twist on town meeting. If, for some reason, the public safety and public health officials and the Board of Selectmen and I meet before any town meeting and decide it's not safe, whether it's because we just had a hurricane or one's predicted, or because there's a sudden spike in COVID cases and we shouldn't be gathering indoors, if it's recommended not to have that meeting, the law now gives the moderator the authority to announce a postponement of the town meeting for up to 30 days, and if necessary, to continue postponing to up to 30 days. But if you do that, there's a procedural thing where we must post notice on the building, notice at the town hall, notice in the newspapers, and also notify the state attorney general's office as to why did you postpone it. And the statute says the board has to appoint someone to have that responsibility to notify the attorney general. The motion that was drafted would appoint the police chief as having the person to sign that notice.
And not the health agent.
Not that.
And that is not a prediction that we intend to postpone town meeting. I talked to the health agent today. As it is right now, we are moving forward with town meeting on Tuesday, November 17th. This is just procedural in case the worst happened. We are prepared and we're organized. And I want to thank town council and town manager for helping out to kind of get everything ready.
You know, like if it was an earthquake or something rare.
would this be, this is indefinite moving forward, this isn't connected to the COVID-19 pandemic, the governor's emergency order?
It's related to the authority because I don't have, if it happened because of a public health issue, the moderator can declare it because the warrant's already out and said that we're having a town meeting. So if there was something that came up right before town meeting, like literally a day or 2 or 3 before town meeting, and you guys can't have a vote or whatever, I can declare it after consultation with the local Board of Selectmen, public health and public safety officials.
But this would be, I mean,
Is this vote going, is this forever? Or is this just during the
Post-COVID-19?
COVID emergency?
is it post-COVID-19, or is this,
Is this for
I
any
think-
emergency?
Well, I don't know that this is only for post-COVID-19, but it would be, for example, if we had an earthquake the morning of the town meeting, this is the procedure,
we've had one?
how you would postpone the town meeting, and then you have to notify the state, why did you do that? I don't think it's going to happen, but this is what the statute says, you have to take a vote to allow the town to have that opportunity if, God forbid, something like that came up. I hate to even bring it to your attention, but we need to have that vote for the record.
Okay. Would someone make that motion if they so choose?
I just, have a question. If we do the chief of police and then, you know, next year we are going to be transitioning at some point, can it be the town manager or someone different, or?
It said, the law says public safety official, so you could say fire chief, you could say deputy fire chief, deputy police.
Understandable.
It's a public safety official.
Okay. So, I move that the board designate the chief of police as the town's public safety official for purposes of providing notice to the attorney general with respect to any decision of the moderator to postpone a town meeting in accordance with the emergency provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 10A.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and second, any discussion?
Did you name the police chief in your motion?
Yes.
The chief of
Okay,
police.
great,
He
thank
did.
you.
You don't want the health director?
No.
No, we need to have a public
Oh,
safety.
okay.
It used to have the, never mind, just,
Yep, I got you.
long story.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, I appreciate your time.
Thank
We'll
you,
see on the
Sean.
17th, and I believe we have to have a signed vote for that first one to be filed with the town clerk.
Okay.
All right.
Will do. Thank you for staying, I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, time being way after 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
We have a continuation, let me read it here.
120 Plymouth Street.
The Board of Selectmen will hold a continued public hearing on Monday, November 9th, 2020, at 7 PM or somewhere around that time, in the Cotter Room, 500 Glenowitz Way, for commercial garage license for two repair bays at 120 Plymouth Street for Adam Davenport, DBA Adams Automotive, amending the existing commercial garage license at 120 Plymouth Street for, I'm not going to get that name.
Haroon Shah.
All right, thank you. DBA Skilling's Auto to one repair bay. So this was, last time, there's 3 bays there, and Skilling's had a Class 2 license and a commercial garage license, correct?
Correct.
So Skilling's is going to keep one bay with their commercial garage license, and you're asking us to issue another commercial garage license for the other 2 bays. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. So we would be amending Skilling's license, which would be reflected, I guess, when they're renewed at the end of the year, December.
I think they're in the process of renewal right now.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
okay.
I'm pretty sure they did change.
So let me just do some procedural. Can I get a motion to open?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye, okay. So you're Adam?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So by doing that, would it change the numbers of, you know, parking spots, customer spaces, employee spaces for Skilling's?
I'm renting 2 spots in the parking lot along with the lease. They said I could have 2 spots, so they allotted 2 specific spots for me. No change to the lot, no change to the property.
So would that have to be reflected on Skilling's, or would Skilling's stay intact? Because,
It's a deal between those two, so. I
Yeah,
think
there's no
we can,
increase in
show it.
cars.
well, my question is just because it's,
Oh, so you mean
it's
on their
listed
license,
on-
it should say 2 less?
yeah, it's
On
listed on
Skilling's.
here as, you know, 421,
Yep.
where Skilling's price is 421 as well. And then, you know, would we run into an issue that way? And I don't want to
I don't
push
know,
this
I
off
mean,
any further,
yeah,
but,
I think if it's approved, we'll have to, like, reflect it on the licenses, on how many spaces go to which one.
It is in the lease terms.
It is in there, so we get a
Yeah, and
copy
he
of that.
has a copy of his lease here.
And is he from Skilling? No? Is there anybody here from Skilling?
He said he came in and he spoke with Nancy, and she said he was good to not come, even though I advised him to please show.
Okay.
so parking, landlord shall provide a total of 4 parking spaces, 2
Yeah.
outside and 2 inside the repair shop. And we don't have Skilling's commercial license to see, but I'd imagine that.
So Skilling's license is in here. and it shows 5 for repair, 1 resident, 2 customers. So Skilling is going down to 1 bay, so they, according to the lease, they would have,
It'd just be a matter of adjusting the numbers.
2 outside and 2 inside, so. Yeah, there's no increase in the cars on the lot, so I'm satisfied with that.
Oh, here we go. Okay. 512. We're going 421.
Well, you guys,
So
read
Skilling's
it.
is gonna maintain one garage,
One repair bay, correct.
okay, which would accommodate he's keeping 1 repair,
And you're keeping a commercial license in it.
okay.
That's correct, huh? That's how we finally decided all this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in the audience to speak on this? Okay.
So I'd make a motion to approve the commercial garage license for 2 repair bays at 120 Plymouth Street, Adam Davenport, DBA Adams Automotive, and amend the commercial garage license for Skilling's Auto Sales to 1 repair bay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, let's close the hearing first.
Make a motion to close the hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Now, Kevin, if you'll do your motion.
I'll make a motion to approve a commercial garage license for 2 repair bays at 120 Plymouth Street, Adam Davenport, DBA Adams Automotive, and amend the commercial garage license for Skilling's Auto Sales to 1 repair bay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations. Good luck.
Very much, gentlemen. Have a great night.
Take care.
Okay, 7:05, request to transfer a Class 2 license for 5 vehicles at 347 Summer Street, DBA Abington Auto Repair, from Gilvan Late to the Olive area. All right, thank you. So, what are we doing on this one?
We change our ownership of the business in the beginning of the year, and when I come in to ask to change, me and her, we asked to change the commercial license and the used car sale license to her name, but at the time, I have no information about it. Everything on the business is kind of new for me. Nancy only gave me the application for the commercial garages license.
Oh, okay.
And we skip the used car license. That's why I'm learning the hard way.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a paperwork thing, and it's all squared
So-
away now, Scott?
Why is,
Do you want to open the public hearing?
oh, yeah,
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. I'm confused as to why there's a total of 33 cars on the property, 5 for sale, 10 to 15 for customer, and 3 employee.
I can park 5 cars outside, that's probably why, and the rest of it is inside.
So are there 2 businesses there?
No, it's all one business.
You have here number of customer spaces, 10 plus 15. Why is it broken down?
Like like I said, everything is too new for me, but, the first time we came in, we have like 10, 15 spaces for customers on a regular basis. And, we have 5 spots outside that we can advertise the used cars for sale. And the rest is the cars that's in process of repairing. But, honestly with you, I don't know how that works, but the property can fit easy 50 to 60 cars.
You only have 5 for sale. So that 10 is in the building, is what you're telling me?
Yes, in the property, yes.
Okay.
Outside is only 5.
Did you buy the property, or are you leasing it?
I'm listening.
So, this is the solar array, is that all fenced off?
The solar is, belongs to the owner of the property.
Right, and that's got a fence around it?
Yes.
Anyone here to speak on this? Okay, what do you think, guys?
So, yeah, how are you getting to the total number of cars of 33?
That was from the previous repair shop owner.
Okay.
He has it that way, we just keep it.
And you'll have 5 cars, you want 5 cars for sale, but then the number of customer spaces,
15, yes.
15, okay.
Mhm.
And 3 employee spaces,
Yes.
23.
The 10 are inside the building.
And then, so that's 23, 33 is a number, so that's an extra 10. You're saying those are inside of the building, or are those outside?
I can fit another 6 inside the building, but those numbers are all outside.
So so there'll be an additional 10 spots outside that,
Yeah,
not outside the
there's
fence.
plenty of space there on this. There's plenty of. At one point, they had, I think they had 50 or 60
yeah.
car license at one point, and then he put the solar in and cut some of that down.
You all set?
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have a motion?
We'll make a motion to transfer the Class 2 license for 5 vehicles at 347 Summer Street, doing business at Abington Auto Repair Corps from Gilvin A. Leahy to
Cassiani?
Celsiani G. Dale Daria.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Good luck.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good night.
Thanks, take care.
Vote to approve minutes from October 6th, and we'll do October 6th first.
Do we want to do each meeting separately, or can we combine the two?
I have no problem doing them both together,
Okay.
I don't either.
because the 2nd to the 19th was just that quick one at town meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes for the meetings of October 6th, 2020, and October 19th, 2020.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Request to reappoint John Cesarini to the Commission on Disabilities.
So, on this one, I know this came up before, with someone who had, requested to get on this board. It was previous with the previous town manager, Rick LaFond. And at the time, he had stated that this was a defunct, board.
Well, I don't know anything about it, to be quite honest with you, but it shouldn't be a defunct board. If it is, then we're going to,
Unfunk it.
undefunk it, is that what you said? I'll go with that. Yeah, because I think you absolutely have to have a,
Yeah, we have to have, yeah.
one of-
And John has been on it for years.
Yeah, and I'll, you know what, I'll, if you do reappoint John, I'll get together with him and try and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
and-
Just because I know another resident had put in for it, and I remember being at that meeting, and he was told that it wasn't,
Really?
so if we could just have some clarity on that, you know, moving forward.
Yeah, and if we could check and see how many people are on it, are they active, or
Sure.
do we have
Yeah,
an
I'll check with
open?
Nancy tomorrow.
Okay.
because,
How many openings for this board?
For the I have no idea who's on that board, or how many positions are available.
So this is the reappointment.
But this is a reappointment, so he's already on there.
Yeah,
Okay,
I make a motion to reappoint John Cesarini to the Commission on Disabilities.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Opposed? Unanimous. And request to appoint Bruce Hughes as an alternate to Old Colony Planning Council effective, well,
First of the year, isn't it?
It's at 11/20.
no, October,
November 23rd.
November 23rd, okay.
So right now, Bruce is gonna be retiring,
Yeah,
and he's looking to be appointed.
and he's been working for Old Colony Planning Council for 30 years, so I think it would be a great fit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to appoint Bruce Hughes as an alternate to the Old Colony Planning Council.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Board of Selectmen liaison for the Capital Improvement Committee. I know Tim has mentioned to me that he would be interested in it. Is there anyone else interested? Scott, why don't you give us the makeup of the committee, how you envision it?
Well, at this point, we'd like to see someone from the Selectmen. I'm not sure who the Finance Committee has settled on, but there'll be someone from the Finance Committee. I would expect either someone from the school department or from the school committee to be on this, and myself and the assistant town manager. So basically, what we're going to be looking at, and what we've already asked for the department heads, a 5-year plan, 5-year capital improvement plans, or capital plans for their departments. So we could put together a matrix, and within that matrix, we'll prioritize what we think needs to be done, what takes the most precedent, and then those will be the items that, we'll look at as we go through the budgets each year and decide, what we're going to, push forward onto the warrant.
Tim said he was interested in
He
being on.
did, he mentioned that to me last week, yeah.
Does any other board members have any interest?
No, I'm good with Tim doing it. yeah.
Jim, Mike?
It's
You
going to
throwing
be
him under the bus?
a dynamic committee, and
I mean, I think it's a great committee. I think Tim will do great
great
on it.
idea.
That doesn't mean we can't sit in at some point if
Yeah.
we're interested.
I mean, it sounds like a great committee. I'd love to hear more about it, but
Yeah.
I'd make the motion to appoint Tim Chapin as the Board of Selectmen liaison for the Capital Improvement Committee.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
All right, someone text him and tell him he's
He
on.
didn't say he wanted to be on it,
No,
right?
he
He
did,
didn't just-
honestly. He did. No. No, he told me last week he'd be interested in that. Okay, town managers report. And it was great to have it over the weekend, because that's what I read over the weekend.
I think you might be messing with me there.
No, I really did.
First of all, I want to thank Sean Riley for bringing us these masks, and I'm going to take mine home and wash it just in case before I put it on. But they're great, and they're $10. They come, we can get them through the booster, so for all you folks at home, if you're interested, reach out to us, and we'll hook you up with the boosters. It's a great cause. The Adams Street complaint that was before you a couple of weeks ago, Town council has issued a cease and desist order as requested by the board. The building commissioner will monitor the situation. If the property owner does not comply with the order of town council at your request, then we'll seek an order from the court. A little further on that, I have, the property owner has reached out to me, and him and I are meeting up in my office next Monday, along with the building commissioner.
When was that served, you know?
I don't, but it was within days after our last meeting, so it wasn't long after that. And I know she did have it served through the sheriff's department, or a constable, so, in hand. But he was also contacting me because he had several monetary fines that had been issued by the building department. So there's an ability to have a fine hearing, and apparently the hearings officer is me. So he reached out to me to have that hearing, and then we're gonna do that next Monday.
Will that be a public hearing?
No, it's not. It's just, I guess it's sort of an informal meeting where he can plead his case to me. Again, I know he has filed with the planning board. He's in front of the planning board on all his matters and all the issues. They are to hear that on Friday night, but in the interim, I don't believe he's done anything to get anything off of that property. So my inclination is, and I'll look there tomorrow, but if nothing's been cleared and he's using it, I would recommend that we ask for town council to go with the next step, even though I'm meeting with him next Monday.
Absolutely.
So, let's see, we've begun bargaining with the library staff and the Patrolmen's Association. So on December 7th, we are going to have an executive session. Jamie's going to be here. And we're just going to discuss options and, you know, sort of get a sense of direction from this board. The budget process has begun. There will be a presentation at some point to this board, probably after the first of the year. And I plan to have an overview presentation by the DPW, fire, and police budgets. Bids have been received and the contract has been awarded for the police station siding project. We have, if you remember correctly, we appropriated $120,000 at the last town meeting. Our low bid was $87,000 from Unicon Construction. Their references checked out. The highest bid was $146,000 and the next lowest bid was $114,000. We discussed a little while back Summit Road. There was a request and some complaints about some heavy truck problems over there. So OCPC completed the traffic study and they determined that it is actually warranted to have a heavy truck exclusion zone. So I reached out to John Stone and he's initiated the process. I will send a letter to MassDOT requesting a permit. With that letter, I'll send along the collected traffic data from OCPC, and they're also going to help create some maps that will outline alternate routes. Once that's done, the state will send out some surveyors, and if the state approves of the exclusion zone, then this board will have to take a vote whether or not to approve it. If this board does approve it, we'll put the signage up. Fire Station Building Committee, we've met with them. I met with them and their engineers last week. The committee has settled on Glenowitz Way Ave as their location. This is going to require some land acquisitions and some easements granted from the Housing Authority. So I've already begun working with town council on some of the early stages of the process and contacting the landowner out there. I expect that the committee will come before this board after the first of the year to present their plan also. I'd like the board to consider placing a moratorium on door-to-door solicitations until such time as the COVID emergency has ended. I plan to discuss this with town council and our health agent, which I've actually already talked to our health agent about this and and the police chief. They both think it's a good idea. I've received several complaints from residents, particularly with children being home more often now, and with the COVID emergency, having strangers just randomly knocking on doors. It seems to be putting people on edge, and they don't really need to be any more on edge these days. So I want to talk about that with town council, and I would hope on the 23rd to have something for you to vote. I updated that we were currently in negotiations with permit tracking software. Actually, I signed an agreement today with OpenGov. So the process of installation and training will begin soon. This software is the same one that the building departments use in a good part of Massachusetts. I know Marshfield uses it, Duxbury uses it, quite a few towns are picking this one. It seems to have the most ability to work, or the most capability to work for all types of permits and licenses. So this is something that we'll be able to use for, in the town clerk's office and whoever's office offers some sort of a permit. It'll allow for online permitting and online paying of permitting and signing up for inspections and submitting of plans and stuff like that. So in the best part of that, fingers crossed, but we do expect that, or at least a portion of that, to be covered with CARES Act money.
Great.
I have an update from Deborah Grimmett. Library is currently open to the public for browsing and borrowing 32.25 hours per week. That includes 2 evenings and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2. Curbside pickup services available 47.5 hours a week. As we have been cautious and are operating at less than the building capacity allowed by the state reopening guidelines, the rollback to Phase 3, Step 1 has no impact on library services. Since beginning curbside pickup service in late May, we have had 3,199 curbside orders picked up by borrowers. We've also made 104 deliveries to homebound residents from late May through October. Limited in the library browsing and borrowing began on July 14th. From July 14th through October 31st, we have provided services for 2,738 people in the building. This number is a small fraction of our normal use patterns. However, being able to enter the building and select books and other library materials is a core service essential to the mental health and intellectual pursuits of our residents. Our borrowers range in age from toddlers to senior citizens. While circulation statistics for the first quarter of the fiscal year are down by 23% over the previous year, our circulation from July 1 through September 30 makes Abington one of the top 3 performing libraries in our network, based on circulation numbers. Digital services are vital lifelines to information for many of our borrowers. From March 1 through September 30th, we have recorded a 27% increase over 2019 numbers in the circulation of digital materials across our Overdrive, Hoopla, and RB digital platforms. The library is also providing limited public computer use, which is essential to those residents who do not have internet access at home. Curbside pickup and library services under COVID-19 protocols are far more labor-intensive than normal library services. We currently have 2 unfilled part-time library assistant positions, which further impact staffing. We have reached the maximum number of curbside and in-building weekly hours which we can safely provide under pandemic conditions. The Board of Library Trustees and I very much appreciate the hard work and dedication of the library staff who provide essential services every day. We are also grateful for your support and that of the Assistant Town Manager, as well as the assistance of other town officials, especially Health Director Marty Golightly. We thank the members of the Board of Selectmen for the care, interest, and attention which they have shown for library services during this unprecedented time. Thank you, Deb. Okay, so I have an update. The Health Department has been very busy with the flu clinics over the past weeks at the Senior Center, Police Station, and Town Hall. I got a thank you, actually, just a little while ago from Chief Majensky, thanking them for coming out there and providing flu vaccinations to many of the officers over there and to the DPW. They intend to do some more. At this time, they've provided vaccinations to approximately 35 adults and 70 children, not including what they did today. They will be hosting another clinic next week, depending on the availability and quantity of vaccines. They have also been working to get reimbursement for all associated expenses through Medicare. At this time, it is looking that they will be very successful. Marty has asked me to acknowledge and recognize our public health nurse, Lindsay Wright, and our assistant health agent, Angela Allen. for all of their assistance and hard works during the pandemic. He's especially thankful that, he has them to, that he has Lindsay there, the public health nurse, to actually administer the vaccines. Let's see, work is currently underway regionally and locally to plan for a COVID vaccination delivery system, and hopefully we'll be hearing lots more on that topic in the coming months. And then finally, the only other updated since this went out was the MBT Advisory Board held a webinar today. I was not able to fully participate, but I'm awaiting an update from our representative. But in the interim, the Reader's Digest version is, weekend service is likely to be discontinued. The last train leaving from Boston is probably going to be leaving earlier. Midday service will be reduced, and the ride program will see reductions. So the process of these cuts is in the early phase. The public comment period is just beginning, and if you'd like, with your direction, I'll prepare a response from this board for you guys to review at the next meeting that we can have entered into the record. And I'll also ask our representative to that board, Mr. Toomey, to present a more comprehensive update as the situation evolves.
So, on the police station siding project, we're replacing the siding basically because the original siding was not installed properly.
Yep.
Do we have, who was gonna be the oversight on that project?
I haven't decided yet. There's money in the budget that I'll actually,
But we will have
I will
some sort
hire
of
someone
oversight.
competent, to, go in there and actually inspect it. And I actually have to say thank you to KVA, because currently they're doing the design and the study for the fire station, but they were also the original designers and the architects for that police station project, and I reached out to them to let them know that, this problem was going on and that I wanted some assistance in preparation of the bid documents, and they were extremely helpful. They were really very concerned when they found out about it. They did everything they could do to try and assist us in, going after warranties or the contract or anything like that, and, obviously there was nothing there. But I will also be reaching out to them for some assistance for construction administration on this, so.
On the fire station building committee, I thought when they presented to us, they already had their recommendation of that Linowitz Way. Is this just another formal?
Yeah, so I met with them a couple of times, and what I wanted to do, and what I did do, since the last time they were here and recently, was I reached out to anyone and everyone in the sort of general geographic area that they liked, who had enough property, to see if they were interested also. If they're, I reached out to GOE also, and to U-Haul, and, I asked the folks who had the eclectic collection, were any of you interested? You have enough land, it would be a great spot for us, and I got no interest.
Okay.
So this was, this was ultimately their preference anyways, but I felt, it was something that we should really put our due diligence, one last ditch effort to find if there was something that, didn't require, as much work, as this one, may have involved in it, so. Like I said, they'll be here to meet with you after the first of the year. My anticipation is there'll be something on the annual town meeting, looking for some sort of funding to do the plans, and probably get it up through bidding, but wouldn't include the construction phase.
Okay, and then I had one other thing. I was contacted by resident town regarding the middle high school. I guess there's been an issue there with the boilers. But what I was told was, I guess Reader's Digest, is that the boilers are only 3 years old. There's some sort of issue going on with them where they need to be replaced, or doors need to be replaced. I was just wondering if you could check
I'll look
into
into
that.
it, yeah, I've not heard anything to that effect.
And this person just said that, it was, $10,000 or something to replace each door in these boilers that were rotting after 3 years. I just wanted to know if there was an update, if you could get us one,
Yeah,
because that's kind of
I'll
an
reach
issue,
out to Peter tomorrow.
if that is the case. Okay.
Anyone have anything they want on the next agenda?
Maybe November 23rd.
I'd just like to bring up one thing going forward in the future. I was talking to John Stone, who took care of something that a resident called me about, and the road acceptance warrant articles came up, and the DPW and the former highway superintendent have never been involved in the road acceptance. It goes to planning board, then to the Board of Selectmen, and they have never been consulted. So I think in the future, he has no problem with this one, but he just thinks that they should at least be consulted somewhere between planning board and selectmen or something, you know, just to get their input on it. So I don't know how we do that. Do we?
Well, I think in the future, then I'm kind of surprised that he wasn't consulted at the planning board level, but they do have an engineer that works
Yeah.
for the town that certifies that it was built to the town specification. Why, I think in this particular case, it's been, one of the roads has been done for quite some time, I
Right.
think.
But the one up off of Plymouth Street, there is an issue with the detention pond. And I understand now that Sean Riley and Planning Board have agreed, the developer has agreed to hold back $10,000 just to make sure that it appears to be fixed at this point, but I guess to go through another rainy season and see if it does.
You know, I think when it comes in front of this board, just ask John to sit in.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if we need a policy on that or whatever, but I definitely think he should be involved, because I found out about the problem with the detention pond after we voted
Okay.
on it. And I would not have voted had I known that before. I would have hoped that something was worked out prior to getting to the Board of Selectmen. Okay?
So our next meeting will be Monday, November 23rd, 6:30.
Yes.
Do we have the dates for the December meeting, or just the,
December 7th was one of them, was that?
yeah, I saw that.
I think right now we were looking December 7th, the 23rd, then the 7th, and,
7th and then the 21st?
yeah, that sounds about right, I think. Yep, so the 23rd, the 7th, and the 21st.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Yeah. Wait a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Unanimous. We hit the old run.
You got the over.